Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is extra special because we are celebrating 70 years of magic at the happiest place on earth. This card is a beautiful tribute to 70 years of churros, castle pictures, and the icon himself, Walt Disney, who continues to inspire us to never lose sight of our inner child. So let's get started. To get started on our foreground and background papers, I am using scrapbook.com's Rainbow Glossy paper pad as well as their holographic paper pad. So from the Rainbow Glossy, I'm using this beautiful bright yellow, and from the holographic, I chose the Gold Stars paper. I cannot recommend this paper pad enough. It is one of my most loved, most repurchased paper pads. It has, if you like holo, you need this paper pad. All right, so the yellow is going to be my background and the holographic will be the foreground. I cut both down to size with no specific measurements in mind here, but I am just layering the holographic on top of the yellow glossy just to give a little bit of a border and adhering that using double-sided tape. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and set that aside for now. So next, I was really inspired by the bunting or pleated fans that you see all throughout the parks for the 70th. So this color palette of magenta, bright pink, yellow, and blue. And I wanted to make sure to incorporate that into the celebratory feature of this card using those colors. So for that, I went ahead and I pulled like colors that are similar to what you see in the park. So using scrapbook.com, Sprinkles paper pad, Bouquet, and the Cools paper pad. To create the pleated fans, I am using scrapbook.com Party Fans die set. It comes in a set of 4. So using the color palette, I went ahead and die cut all of those, and I glued one on top of the other. So going from biggest to smallest. Once glued, I cut the fan in half to give me half of the design, which I then incorporated into the rest of the card design so nothing went to waste. I did want to go ahead and mention that before I glued the fans together, I decided to distress each layer using coordinating Distress Oxide inks and seedless preserves, picked raspberry, mustard seed, as well as salty ocean. So what I'm going to show you real quickly is how I ended up distressing the actual die cut piece. So I'm using a scrapbook.com non-slip pad as well as a finger dauber from scrapbook.com. This is just really, it makes it a lot easier to be able to shade. You have a little bit more control, especially when you're shading smaller pieces. So I just go around the entire, just around the edges, and then I also go back in to deepen the edges just a little bit. Now I'm going to adhere the pleated fans around the perimeter of the card. So I'm going to add one to the very top, to the side, and to the bottom. And for this, I'm just using some liquid glue. You can also use double-sided tape, but I had liquid glue in front of me, so I'm going to go ahead and just use that. And just to elevate the fans a little bit more, I went ahead and I die cut some stars out of the Catherine Pooler Goblin Grin die set. These were the only little tiny miniature stars that I had, but if you have punches, you can use those. So I cut that out of the same holographic background paper we used. For the rest of the dies used for this card, I found on Temu this really cool vintage Disneyland sign die, which is still available after having been sold out. So I'll put the link in the description if you are interested. But I went ahead and I die cut the sign using the same colored papers that we used for the pleated fans, as well as the gold holographic paper for the outline of the sign. For the Happy Birthday sentiment, I used the scrapbook.com birthday tassel banners dies, and I backed each banner with a white glossy cardstock using the scrapbook.com classic glossy paper pad. The next die set I used is a new favorite by Spellbinders. It's part of their Sage Cheese Mouse collection. And how cute are these dies? You can build your own Mickey and Minnie Mouse and Steamboat Willie. You can choose to leave their hats on or leave them off, which I ended up doing. And I cut Mickey out of the scrapbook.com classic glossy cardstock. The last die set I used is the Birthday Cake Numbers by Echo Park. And I die cut the 7 and 0. Again, using the same colors I used in the fans. Now it's time to take all of the elements and put them together to assemble our card. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying down my pieces before I actually glue them down, just so I have an idea of the layout of where I want everything to go. So now I'm just going to use some scrapbook.com foam tape in various widths and thicknesses. So for the happy birthday banner, I am using the 1/4 inch 1mm scrapbook.com foam. For the Disneyland sign, I ended up using the 1 inch 1mm. And for Mickey's head, I'm using the 1 inch 2mm. And then for the 70, I ended up using the 1/4 inch 1mm. I also decided to add some of the same holographic stars that we added to the actual fans. And again, cutting that out of the holographic paper, and then just applying that right on top of the 7 and the 0. And here is our final card. I absolutely loved how this turns out. It has such a vintage 90s vibe, and I'm here for it. So I wanted to go ahead and also show you a second card that I made using the same Spellbinders Say Cheese Mouse Collection die set that we used for this card, and wanted to also include Walt as part of the center of the card. I love this card. This has such a vintage Disney vibe to it, and using the same Mickey die set that we used earlier from Spellbinders, I added the hat onto Mickey, and I did it in more of a muted color palette to kind of look like black and white cartoons. And I had a little piece of fabric that has Walt printed all over it. I've had it in my collection for a while, and I've been hesitant to use it, so I ended up cutting a little piece of it out to have him on the card. And then from Simple Stories, they also have this really cool classic vintage Disney sticker set as well. So I used one of the foam stickers and placed that right on the card. And here they are, our 2 Handmade Disneyland 70th birthday cards we made. I had so much fun channeling my inner Imagineer for these cards. I love how vintage and nostalgic they both look. And I remember as a kid, I have so many Disneyland memories. I grew up with Disneyland, but I think my most favorite memory is before California Adventure existed. It was just one big parking lot, and you could actually see the Esplanade as you were approaching, and it was just so special and magical to be able to see Main Street and know that you were getting closer and closer to entering the happiest place on earth. And I also miss the parking spaces. Do you guys remember that? Where they had different icons like Tinkerbell and Grumpy and Bambi. I miss that, and I really wish they would bring that back. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it brought back some really happy Disney memories for you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more crafty fun, and let me know in the comments what's your favorite Disneyland memory. I'd love to know. So until next time, keep crafting, keep dreaming. Happy birthday, Disneyland, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care. Bye.